Hello and good afternoon and welcome back to this live stream coverage of the BUCS Long Course Swimming Championships 2019 here at Ponds Forge International Sports Centre in Sheffield. This is day 2, session 3 coming up, beginning officially at 2 p.m, and we're going to bring you all the action throughout the afternoon, and also session 4 today will begin at 6 p.m. Session 3 is going to be all heats. We're going to start with the women's 200 metre backstroke, then go over to the men. We're going to do some 50 metres, some 4x1s, some more 200s, more 4x1s. Plenty of action taking you all the way through to the end of the session. But again, all heats, and the finals are going to be a mixture of this evening starting from 6 p.m, and also some of these will take place on Sunday afternoon as well tomorrow. So we're almost halfway through the action. We started yesterday evening, but we'll look forward to another session coming up now, beginning again at 2 p.m. We'll be with you very, very shortly. So Camp America, just one of the partners here over the Long Course Championship weekend. They are attending here on site as well. Competitions involved, so you can win a free Camp America experience and a free trek around the US as well. Enter their competition online or have a chat with them if you're coming down later in the afternoon, or of course at any time tomorrow. Again, session will begin officially at 2 p.m. If you want to get involved, there's a YouTube chat box. We'll be looking at that and reading out as many good luck messages as you can fit in. Also, if you want to get involved on Twitter, you can use the hashtag BUCSNationals at any time. We'll do our best to read out as many as we can. But again, the swimming starting in about 7 minutes at 2 p.m. So if you're just joining us, welcome back again to Ponsford International Sports Centre. Session 3 coming up of the BUCS Long Course Championships 2019. Part, of course, of the BUCS Nationals. Plenty of sports going on today. We are live at poolside here for you, bringing you all the action from Session 3 and then Session 4 this evening. Of course, all of our finals will be from 6 p.m. Make sure you tune in for that one as well. We're going to be getting underway in a couple of minutes with the women's 200-metre backstroke. Have 3 heats of those, and then of course the men's as well, 200-metre backstroke. Also coming up, we've got the men's and women's 50-metre freestyle. We're going to finish the day with some medleys, 4x1s. Plenty coming up for you. An entire session packed full of racing, and a great one this morning. Great racing last night as well. If you want to get involved, use the chat section on the YouTube channel that you're watching at the moment, or you can use BUCS National hashtag if you're getting involved on Twitter. So we're just welcoming our referees and officials poolside. You just see them in the background there. And very shortly we're going to get underway with event number 301. That's the women's 200-metre backstroke. We're going to start with heat number 2. Simply because we have the fastest 3 heats to begin with in each event, and then we go back and have the remaining heats. So in some particular races, such as the 50-metre freestyle, we might have heats 15, 16, 17, and then the later or earlier heats a little bit later on in the session. But getting underway with event 301, if you go on the BUCS website, just Google BUCS Swimming 2019, you can see a complete event schedule, also see live timings, and lots of other information about not just the swimming here, but everything going on over the BUCS National Weekend. The centenary year as well, worth mentioning, 100 years of British university sport this year. So here we go, event 301, women's 200-metre backstroke, heat number 2. And from this near side, Caris Clark of Southampton, Eleanor Nansen Leeds, Olivia Neal, East Anglia, Jessica Shaw, Birmingham, Catherine Greenslade, Edinburgh, Emma Bell, Loughborough, Rebecca Williams, Leeds Beckett, Anna Kirk, Cambridge, Katja Zosimova, Exeter, and Faye Warren, Cardiff. So fastest entry time coming into this one, Catherine Greenslade of Edinburgh at 2:10.59. That's 4.4 seconds quicker than Emma Bell of Loughborough on the entries. The 50-metre mark, it was in fact Olivia Neal with an early lead. She maintains that at the halfway mark. 0.21 ahead of Greenslade, 0.43 ahead of Shaw. And we go back another second to Bell. So the women in the pool are going to be looking to be setting a time to get into the later finals. And it is now fastest on paper Greenslade that takes an advantage, actually turned it around to an advantage of 1.72 seconds. That's a fair swing over that third 50 metres. Again, coming in at 2.1059. Not going to quite reach that mark in the heats, but she does take the win in the heat, a 2:16.28. Jessica Shaw also dipping under 2:20. And Neil and Bell just outside, just 600 separating them. 2:16.28 is the marker put down by Greenslade. And on to heat number 3 from the near side. Rosalind Fell of York, Freya Beck leads Beckett, Rosie Rudin Sheffield, Anna Main Edinburgh, Chloe Golding Manchester Met, Courtney Price Nottingham, Cassie Wilde Stirling, Gracie McGill of Leicester, Jessica Sutton of Bangor, and Rebecca Bamber of Hull. Just waiting for the pool to be cleared from heat number 2. So again, all of this information available to you on the BUCS website. Underway in heat number 3, Chloe Golding of Manchester Met, 2:09.93 coming in. Behind her, Courtney Price, Nottingham, 2:14.35. And then Anna Main and Cassie Wilde, the only other 2 women under 2:20. Incredibly tight. No timings available at the moment, but as you can see, pretty much turned neck and neck. That was Chloe Golding, Courtney Price and Cassie Wilde. In fact, there was just 1,100 separating them at the 50-metre mark. And again, it will be Cassie Wilde, Courtney Price and Chloe Golding. Actually in the reversed order of that, so it's Chloe Golding a 1:06.61 at the halfway stage. Price with a 1:06.7. And then a Wilde a 1:07.32. Chloe Golding is just going to take a slender lead into the final 50. And there's some timings for you. So 0.69 now ahead of Price. And a full 3 back to Wilde. Golding in the orange cap of Manchester Met. To the left-hand side, Courtney Price, the green cap of Nottingham. Time to beat a 2:16.28 from Greenslade in heat number 2. And it's a 2:17.67. The official time. And that's 2:15.44 for Golding. It was Courtney Price with the 17.67, so she does beat that time set by Greenslade. That's the new time to beat, 2:15.44. If anybody in heat number 4 wishes to get themselves into that final, and of course we'll see heat number 1 a little bit later as well. Anna Main, of course, the other lady under 2:20, 2:19.38. So that's 6 times in total over the first, well, heats number 2 and 3. 6 times under 220. So that's what they're going to be chasing in heat number 4 coming up next. From this near side, Samantha Dickens of Southampton, Jodie Alder York, Ellie Westerby Swansea, Isabel Jones Stirling, Jessica Fuller-Love representing British Swimming, Charlotte Evans of Loughborough, Laura Gruter Manchester Met, Hayley Briggs Royal Holloway, Ella Mensel Leeds and Summerhorn Coventry. Jessica Fuller-Love representing British Swimming, 2:08.8 coming into this one. In lane 5, Charlotte Evans a 2:11.1. Fuller-Love, of course, quite an accomplished backstroker. Commonwealth Games, Youth Olympics, FINA World Junior Swimming Championships, competed in them all. So she won't be eligible for medals in this event. She's not representing an actual or a student at a university. Like Adam Peaty earlier this morning competing under the British Swimming banner. But great to see these athletes in the pool, and great for the competitors to swim alongside them as well. Especially the guys racing alongside Adam Peaty this morning. Great experience for them. And Fuller-Love in lane 4. The time to beat at the moment, a 2:15.44 from Chloe Golding in heat number 3. So she's going to be underneath that, 2:12.04. And Charlotte Evans just outside that time of 2:15.44. She comes in with a 2:16.70. And again, we've got 3 more girls under the 2:20 mark. So that's around about the time to get into the finals later. Keep your eyes again on the website, all the information on there for you. All the racing schedules, the live timing results, and all the championship information you could ever dream of. So that's us with the women for now. We're going to move on to the men shortly. Event number 302. It's the men's 200 metre backstroke. So heat number 2 of the men's 200 metre backstroke. Yep, this is heat number 2. We'll see heat number 1 a little bit later, because we just start with the fastest 3 heats to begin with. From the near side, James Boots of Kent, Ben Eastman Oxford, Sam Pease of Stirling, Michael Rees of Nottingham, Dan Cross of Loughborough, Joe Small Swansea, Oliver O'Halloran Newcastle, Stuart Crawford of Glasgow, Cameron Jones of Lancaster, and Peter Schlitter of York. So Heat 2, fastest entry, only one man under 2 minutes. That's a 1:58.9 from Dan Cross of Loughborough in lane number 4. Currently neck and neck with Joe Small and Oliver O'Halloran. And those three men turning within 0.41 of each other. Then you go 2 seconds back to Rees Pease and Crawford and Jones. So already through 50 metres, approaching 75. 125 even, a three-man race at the front. And as they did at the halfway mark, they'll turn together with 50 to go. So Cross with now 0.16 over O'Halloran. Small has gone out to 0.86. Again, Cross was a 1:58.9. Small come in with a 2:03.10. And O'Halloran a 2:06.14. And in fact, O'Halloran has had an incredible final 50 metres, and he could take this away from Cross. He does indeed, a 2:05.26. Takes it away from Dan Cross in a 2:05.82. So ignore the timing on the screen there. Most definitely a win in there for O'Halloran. Followed by Cross and Small. And we'll wait for confirmed timings a little bit later. Or just check the BUCS website in a few minutes. And we'll move on to heat number 3. And in heat number 3, from the near side, we'll have Ben Strover of Bournemouth, Nathan Watson of Coventry, Daniel Lowe Winchester, William Riley Bath, Craig McNally West of Scotland, Jacob Greenay Bath, Craig McLean Stirling, Jamie Robertson Portsmouth, Tim Moores Imperial, and Fernando Asaiza Ocampo of Southampton. Fastest man in the pool, 1:58.32, Craig McNally West of Scotland, Jacob Greenay with a 2:02.98. So first 50, pretty neck and neck. 4 within 5 or 0.58 of each other, occupying lanes 3, 4, 5 and 6. Jacob Greenough of Bath, the man out in front by up to a torso's worth of body length at least. And he'll turn at the halfway mark with a lead of just under a second. McNally just over, as is McLean. But it's 5 seconds back to Robertson. So these four men looking to make a mark and make their way into the finals. One more heat to come. And then an additional earlier heat a little bit later on in the session. Again, we're in session 3 here of these championships. Greenough still leading, 0.61 now. 1.24 and 1.6 to Riley and McLean respectively. Well, that is neck and neck now in the pool between McNally and Greenough. They're through the 15-metre marker. I think Greenough could just come through to take this goodie. It's going to just go down to the final stretch on the wall. He does indeed, Greenough. McNally, 204.65. And then Greenough in second place with a 204.81. Riley with a 206.63. So that's the new time to beat, 204.65. Prior to that, we had a 205.5 in heat number 2. So the chaps in heat 4 now, if they've got their eye on the scoreboard, they'll know the time to beat to almost guarantee a place in that final later on. And in heat number 4, Devin Kellett of Derby, Adam Toy of Surrey, Aaron Bostock of Sheffield, Joe Litchfield of British Swimming, Luke Greenbank, Loughborough, Max Litchfield, Sheffield Hallam, Scott Gibson, Edinburgh, Miles Turner, Anglia Ruskin, Matthew Evans, Manchester Met, and James Cook of Southampton. And you may have noticed there's just been a couple of not missed timings but communications on the scores that you can see. So we're just changing the timing board between lanes 1 and 2. Again, any comments? You can use the comment section on the YouTube channel. Or use the hashtag BUCS Nationals. Of course, plenty going on. There's athletics going on. You can stream that live as well. There's judo, there's badminton, there's rock climbing. There's BUCS Nationals weekend. We'll come back to you when we've managed to fix the timing issue, hopefully not too long. So the swimmers are ready, tops off, ready to go. And up comes the timing board in lane number 1. There's a spare I can see behind them, resting against the lockers. That'll be brought in as a replacement. Last minute substitute. So substitution made. Again, Kellett, Toy, Bostock, Lichfield, Greenbank. Lichfield, Gibson, Turner, Evans and Cook. Heat number 4, event 302, men's 200 metre backstroke. So finally we get underway. Lane 4, Luke Greenbank, Loughborough, 28.45 through the first 50. And he's pretty much at the head of a spear in the centre of a pool, fanning to his left and right out to the sides. Which means the closest to him, Joe Lichfield and Max Lichfield. 1.68 and 2.41 respectively. Lichfield's entry time, Sheffield Hallam 2:02.29 and Greenbank a 1:57.4. Fastest time so far in the heat's 2:04.65. And it's going to be a very comfortable win in heat number 4. From lane 4, Loughborough 1:59.62. Only man under 2 minutes. In fact, nobody really near. 2:04 was the quickest time prior to that. And then the Lichfield duo 2:05.23, 2:05.38. Nip and tuck out to 2:08. Scott Gibson. A great time from Greenbank. There's a good question and answer there. Anybody wondering what B swimming means? It is British swimming. So they're guests of the BUCS Championship. They can compete, but not in the finals. Can't win medals. That's why you saw Adam Peaty earlier. Jessica Fuller-Love, another example. Nice to have them along, great to swim against them, great to commentate on them, to be perfectly honest. But of course, if they were allowed to win medals, they might walk away with everything. Great to have them here with us. So we move on to the next event now. This is the women's 50 metre freestyle, event number 303. We're going to see the fastest 3 heats. So we're going to see heats 11, 12 and 13 now, and then we'll see heats 1 to 10 a little bit later on in the session. In heat 11, from the near side, Kate Story, Glasgow, Ruby Verge, Cardiff, Abigail Whiting, Sheffield Hallam, Madison Kemp, Plymouth, Danielle Hill, Ulster, Anita McCartney, Edinburgh, Sarah McCracken, Ulster, Ricky Nagel, Clevin, East Anglia, Polly Lorimer, Bristol, and Emily Blissett, Surrey. Just on the chat for the YouTube channel, copy and paste Can you give a shout out to my girl, Courtney Brooks? That was it. I can't see her on the start sheet though. Copy and paste. I'm looking around. I'd like to give her a shout out when she's racing. Give me a little nudge nearer the time. So here we go, heat number 11 underway. Fastest coming in 25.56 and 26.13. That's from Hill and McCartney down the centre. And they do lead, as you can see, neck and neck. It's just going to be Daniela Hill that gets it by 11/100ths of a second over McCartney. Again, slight little delay in the timing. 26.69 there, so 11/100ths behind. And Kate Story on this near side, 27.52. So again, these are setting times to beat a little bit later on. Into heat number 12. So these will absolutely fly by. We'll have the men's afterwards as well before we go back to the 200-metre breaststrokes. So 3 women's heats, 3 men's heats. This is heat 12 from the near side. Hannah Denny, Bath, Stephanie Williams leads, Maria Crezo-Pros Newcastle, Sophia Altoft Stirling, Rachel Masson Edinburgh, Katie Latham Kent, Anna Fleming Glasgow, Jessica Calderbank Salford, Joy Willett Cardiff Med and Abby Johnson Birmingham. .25.43 from Edinburgh's Rachel Masson. Quickest coming in. One other woman under 26 seconds is Kate Latham. And Kent, 25.85. And again, we look towards the centre 2 lanes. It is going to be between these two. Rachel Masson is maybe half a metre's advantage, but again, it's all about the time. 25.58 to beat, 26.17, so not as quick as heat number 11. Keep your eyes on the live timings and the race schedules online to find out if that is going to be quick enough for a spot in the final. By winning the penultimate heat, you'd hope it would be. But heat 13 coming up, where we have Emily Barclay of Loughborough, 24.93 coming in. Only woman under 25 seconds. From the near side, Lotta Upan of Stirling, Emmy Hutchinson Strathclyde, Gulsal Onal West of Scotland, Emily Horn at Glasgow Central, Loughborough teammates Emily Barclay and Emily Crane, Rihanna Smith of Queen Mary, Holly Hill Drew Birmingham, Bournemouth's Lucy Farmer and Cardiff Met's Katie Townsend. So 3 Emilys across the centre, Horn, Barclay and Crane in 3, 4 and 5. They've got the quickest 3 times as well. Loughborough teammates Barclay and Crane and Glasgow's Horn. Again, 24.93 coming in, Emily Barclay. Quickest time so far, 25.58 from heat number 11. And Barclay will take it, 25.64. So 600ths outside the winning time from heat number 11. Crane, 26.05. And then 27 on the button for Emily Horn. So the 3 Emilys taking the top 3. Find out a bit later, see if they are all good enough to make the final. Sure they will be. And we'll shortly move on to the men's 50-metre freestyle, event number 304. Again, 3 heats. We're going to see heats 11, 12 and 13, the fastest 3 heats. The remaining heats will be a little bit later in the session. Heat 11 sees Sean Glasgow of Newcastle, Harry Turner Swansea, Gabrielle Conget of Anglia Ruskin, Kieran McGuckin of Edinburgh, Callum Bain of Stirling, Miles Monroe of Bath, Leon Birchie, University College London, Christopher Muir Glasgow, Angus Wall St Andrews and Dan Austin Liverpool. So Edinburgh, Stirling and Glasgow all represented, and St Andrews, 4 British or 4 Scottish universities in the pool. Fastest on paper, Callum Bain, 22.39, 22.58 from Miles Monroe. And it is Bain in the centre from Stirling, will take it. And his time, 23.32, wow, crikey. And a 23.61 from Kieran McGuckin, 23.66 Miles Monroe. All 3 of them under the entry time. And cracking times to beat for the next 2 heats, 23.32. Heats 12 and 13 to come. And on to heat number 12. From lane 0, James Taylor, Oxford, Jacob Lee, Manchester. Neil Wiley and Rob Kelly, both from Manchester, Met. Loughborough's Tom Fannin. Stirling, Scott McClay. Plymouth's Isa Mohammed. Salford's Leo Shawadi. Glasgow's Jacob Foytle. And Oxford's Matthew Williams. 22.3 from Fannin in 4. The man from Loughborough. 23.32 the time to beat. And side by side, stroke by stroke, lanes 4 and 5, Fannin and McClay. And it just goes to Fannin by 100th of a second. 23.23, so a 10th quicker than the winning time of heat number 11. 23.24, 100th behind Scott McClay. And then Rob Cayley, 24 on the nose, and just 300ths under that, Neil Wiley, 23.97. On to heat number 13. Final heat of these 50-metre freestyles. Until a little bit later. In 0, Samuel Chell, Newcastle. Jamie Ingram, Manchester. Jean-Jacques Choron, University College London. Alex Bowen, Loughborough. David Cumberledge, Heriot Wotton. Jack Thorpe, Edinburgh. Cardiff's Henry Bland. Bath's Geoffrey Chen. Derby's Aidan Sparling. And Portsmouth's Matthew Brooks. Now a lot tighter across the field in this one. Fastest coming in, David Cumberledge, 22 seconds on the mark. And look at lanes 3, 4 and 5. That's Bowen, Cumberledge and Thorpe. Crikey, that's close. Thorpe gets it, 22.97. 22.98 for Cumberledge, 100th separating them, both under the 23-second mark. And Alex Bowen just outside, 23.08. So cracking time there, 22.97. First man under 30, 23 seconds even throughout those heats. And now we go back to the women. And this is the women's 200-metre breaststroke, event number 305. 3 heats to bring you. We're going to start with heat number 2. And you see heat number 1 a little later. But for now, on the near side, Ellen Morley, Sheffield Hallam. Alice Ball, Sheffield Hallam. Molly Wright, Nottingham Trent. Stirling's Natalie Coogans. British swimming representative Georgia Coates, that's an invitee of course. Rachel Taylor of Newcastle. Emma Chittlebert, Aberdeen. Chelsea Behan, East Anglia. Ellen Skull, Surrey. And Melissa Carter, Edge Hill. Fastest entry, Georgia Coates, British swimming, 2:25.1. So British swimming's Georgia Coates already with a lead of a second and a half over Rachel Taylor. Of course an invitee, cannot win medals at this event, can take part in the heats but not in the finals. So she's here to set a time, Ms Coates. Went through 50 and 33.41. She'll go through 101.11.4. And the lead now 2.77 out to Taylor. 4.5 out to Coogans. Again, this is heat 2 of 4. So women in the pool just looking to set times. From the YouTube chat box, Urgen is sporting East Anglia, so he's cheering for Chelsea Bian in this heat. And then Emily Sellen, also of East Anglia, in heat number 4. That'll be our final heat in this event. And then we'll repeat with the men's 200 metre backstroke. So into the final 25 for Georgia Coates. So the time she sets won't be the time to beat. That'll be the time set by Rachel Taylor. But a fantastic performance nonetheless from Georgia Coates. Coming in, it was a 2:25, so she's going to be outside that, but still a comfortable win. Nearest time on paper was Taylor in a 2:33. Should not be far outside that, or 3.5 seconds or so. So 2:36.98 is the time. So the competitors in heat 3 and 4 will have their eyes on somewhere near that. In fact, in heat 3, Katie Matz of Manchester, she's got an entry time of 2:25. So well within her reach. And we now move on to that heat number 3. And from this near side. In fact, heat number 2 just being completed by Melissa Carter of Edge Hill. And now we can move on to heat number 3. So from this near side, Rosha Mondal of King's College, Zoe McDonald Stirling, Eleanor Bird Birmingham, teammate Charlie Nelson in 3, Katie Matz of Manchester Met in 4, Megan Morrison Loughborough 5, Anna Hutchinson Edinburgh 6, Ellie Ward Nottingham Southern, Rebecca Lynn of University College London in 8, and Emma J Hudson of Keele in 9. So Matz in 4 at the 50 metre mark, 1.3 already ahead of Morrison, 2 of Bird. Matz from Manchester, 2:25.06 coming in, so 12 seconds quicker than the winning time in heat number 2. On the YouTube chat box, Mr. Iron Bolt popping to the shop. Anyone want anything? Yes, some ice and a fan would be wonderful. I'm sure it's about 38 degrees here up at the back of the seating area. Pool looking very tempting as Matz turns in 1:11.78 at the halfway mark. Morrison now 2.91 behind. Hutchinson out to 6.5. You would expect Morrison to be the closest. She came in with a 2:29.5. So only 2 of them under 2:30 on the entries. Charlie Nielsen, 2:36. And Anna Hutchinson at 2:39. So 150, 50 metres to go. Now to 4.5 seconds of Morrison. So you'd imagine she can hold on to that over this final 50. And make her way into this evening's final. And holding on comfortably as she goes through the red marker for the 15 metres. And into the final 5. It's all about the time on the clock, really. 2:30.25. Quickest time thus far, 2:36 from Megan Morrison. Still quicker than the winning time from heat number 2, which was a 2:37. So they're the two quickest times so far. Ellie Ward a 2:46.3 and Eleanor Bird 2:46.4. Lane number 9, Emma J. Hudson of Kiel, just coming to round things out. And that great performance flight, Katie Matz 2:30.25. Move on to our final heat, heat number 4. From this near side in heat number 4, we're going to see Lois Ross of Strathclyde, Emily Walsh of Glasgow, Denise Elena Gogo of Manchester, Nottingham's Ciara Fletcher, Molly Renshaw of British Swimming and invitee, Edinburgh have brought Annabelle Guy-Johnson, Laura Hawkins of Swansea, Alex Stringer of Manchester Met, Emily Celine of East Anglia and Katie Gillies of Aberdeen. So Molly Renshaw, another invitee from Team British Swimming. 2016 she won the 200 metre breaststroke at the 2016 FINA World Swimming Championships. And she holds a comfortable lead through the first 125 metres. Also been involved in 2 Commonwealth Games, Renshaw, 2014 and 2018 on the Gold Coast, came in with a silver medal in the 200 metre breaststroke, Commonwealth Games. And then in the same event in Glasgow, bronze medal. And that's a sizable lead. Behind her, Annabelle Guy-Johnson of Edinburgh. And what's this time going to be? Molly Renshaw, she came in with a 2:23.28, so it's going to be just outside that. Annabelle Guy-Johnson came in with a 2:28.67, so she'll be outside that also. But again, doesn't really matter where you finish in these heats, it's all about the time. I'll have some confirmations a little later for who's going to make it into that evening's finals. Might be worth having a look. There's been a couple of disqualification announcements on the pool tannoy over the last 15 minutes. And in fact, one was from this event, heat number 3, lane 3. So that was Charlie Nielsen of Birmingham. And that concludes the women's 200 metre breaststroke heats. We will again have one more later on. The heat number 1 shouldn't affect the timings for the final. Shouldn't, I say. Always can, of course. Never know if somebody's going to throw something together. And we'll now move on to the men's. Event 306, 200 metre breaststroke, heat number 2. So we will see heats 2, 3 and 4 now. Heat 1 a little later this afternoon. Again, all our finals will be from 6 p.m. onwards. We'll be online from 5:50, bringing those to you. A whole session just of finals, including all this afternoon's and this morning's heats. So heat number 2 from this near side: Tom Howarth of Leeds Beckett, Mitchell Coombs Royal Holloway, Rokas Provincius Leeds, Matthew Rogers Birmingham, Craig Benson Stirling, Tobermory Mackay Chapman of Oxford, Andrew McIntosh Edinburgh, Sandy Forsyth Glasgow, Thomas Wiggins Sheffield, and Benjamin Purcell of Newcastle is on the far side. A 2:10.09 from Craig Benson in 4, the man from Stirling. But he's currently 1900ths behind Rogers. Tobermory Mackay champ of Oxford in 5. And we're talking fingernails in front. Matthew Rogers of Birmingham in the orange, or the red cap of Birmingham. He may be in the lead at the halfway stage. He is indeed. 1:08.2. Mackay champ 0.19 behind. Then a second back to McIntosh. Another half back to Benson and Forsyth. And hang around, because in heat number 4 we will see Adam Peaty competing. So that's going to be in about 5 or 6 minutes' time. And with 50 to go, it is still Rogers, 1:44.88, less than a second ahead of Mackay champion McIntosh. 1.5 out to Benson. Forsyth now with maybe a little bit too much work to do at 3.71 back. So it's those 4 centre lanes. It's Rogers, Benson, Mackay champion McIntosh. This is heat 2 of 4, so looking to set a time to make their way into this evening's finals. And this is very tight indeed. Rogers, can he maintain that lead? He's led at the last 2 marker posts. Can Benson come through and steal it? He does indeed, Benson. So Benson with a 2:21.25, 700ths behind is Rogers. Another 5/10ths behind is Mackay champ. And then still a great time from McIntosh, 2:22, but only good enough for 4th in this heat. So 2:21.25 the time to beat. And we'll move on to heat number 3. From the near side, Finlay Ryan Sheffield Hallam, George Hopkins Swansea, Miles Clark Oxford, John Britton Imperial, James Wilby Loughborough, Nicholas Quinn Edinburgh, Cameron Muir Glasgow Caledonia, Thomas McSkimming Heriot Watson, Daniel Pearson Royal Holloway, and Alex Rogers Portsmouth. Quickest time coming in, a 2:10 on the button from James Wilby of Loughborough. Then a 2:12 Nicholas Quinn Edinburgh. Then you jump out to 2:16 John Britton, 2:20 Cameron Muir. Approaching the halfway stage, Wilby. Fastest coming in does lead. To his left and right, Britton and Quinn. The lead's only 0.3, then 1.19 to Quinn. Muir and Hopkins both 3.3 back. So the 100 metres still involved as Britain starts to chase down Wilby from lane 3 and lane 4. And now starting to move away is Wilby. Entry time again, 2:10 on the nose. So to crack that, he's going to have to go under 30 seconds for the final 50. Unlikely, but Britain 2.13 now back. So that lead has been extended. And Britain and Quinn have to look over to their shoulder shortly to lane number 6, Cameron Muir of Glasgow, Caledonia. Got 25 metres to catch these three. But it's Wilby that's going to come through from the off. So a gun to tape win for him here in heat number 3. Again, we're in event 306. And then a great chase down to the line. Who's going to win it from Britain and Quinn? It does go to Britain, 2:20.68, 1/10 of a second ahead of Quinn. But both a full 4 seconds behind Loughborough's James Wilby, and that's the new time to beat, the 2:16. From heat 2, we had a 2:21 from 2:5 from Craig Benson of Stirling. So for the chaps going in heat number 4, now 2:16 is the time to beat. Of course, that final will be this evening. And we move on to heat number 4. And from the near side, in lane 0, Yuk Ching of Imperial, Robin Turner, Sheffield Hallam, Jack McCornish, West of Scotland, Daniel Lim, Harriet Watton, British swimming invitees Adam Peaty and Edward Baxter, David Miller in 6 of Bath, Thomas Jake Heslin of Southampton in 7, Matt Gradanus of Birmingham in 8, and Stephanie Stanley York in 9. And no surprise to see the fastest entry time, Adam Peaty, 2:08.35. And his training mate, Edward Baxter, came in with a 2:11. Outside those two chaps in the centre, Daniel Lim at 2:15.75, Daniel Miller of Bath at 2:19.93, and Peaty with an enormous lead already through 50. 10 times world record holder, Olympian, gold medal winner, European Championship gold medal winner, Commonwealth gold medal winner. There's nothing this man hasn't done, apart from maybe win a heat 4 at the BUCS 2019 Long Course Championships. Where will this rank among his achievements? We'll find out later. And leading through 100 metres, of course, is a 1 minute dead .16. And in fact, Peaty stopped. So just a training swim for him. That could have confused the other swimmers, but of course on his schedule, I'm sure. So outside his world record time of 57.13, but he stopped at the halfway mark, which means our leader is now Edward Baxter. He has a 2 or 3 metre lead over lane 3's Daniel Lim. Again, the time to beat from heat number 3 is a 2:16. Baxter has continued, his British swimming teammate. He goes in lane 5, but again, his time only for the record books, not to get into this evening's final. So we look towards lanes 3 and 6 for a qualifying time for the final. That's Daniel Lim and David Miller, Harriet Watton and Bath respectively. So Peaty just cooling off in the pool in lane 4. His teammate and training partner Baxter will come through with a 2:16.83. And of the qualifying times to the final, the quickest will be a 2:22.76 from Daniel Lim. And we'll just wait for the official time also for David Miller. It was a 2:22.96 and Daniel Lim a 2:26.76, so 2/10 separating them. That's the conclusion of the heats for now for the men's 200 metre breaststroke. We'll shortly move on to the women's 400 metre medley team relays. And again, we'll see 3 heats. But again, nice to see Adam Peaty in the pool. I just hope that doesn't go down as a disqualification on his record books or his scorecard. So this is heat or event number 307. Heat number 3 we're going to begin with. We'll see heats 1 and 2 a little later. This is the women's 400 metre or 4x1 medley team relay. In heat number 3, we're going to see from this near side Bristol, Exeter, Lancaster, Cambridge, Chichester, Glasgow, Warwick, Liverpool, John Moores and Portsmouth. So interesting, lanes 7 and 8. Liverpool rival universities, Liverpool and Liverpool John Moores. Fastest entry pretty close between Chichester and Glasgow. Chichester are 4.37 and Glasgow are 4:37.52, so just half a second separating them. Just going back to the web chat on the YouTube channel. Rion asked, is he going for a 100-metre time? In reference to Adam Peaty. I didn't see the question before the race, but I can confirm yes he was, Rion. And it was just a smidge outside 1 minute. And now back to this relay. And it's the outside lanes, lanes 0 and 9, Bristol and Portsmouth. So Lancaster and Chichester also there as well, or thereabouts. So it is those 4, Bristol, Lancaster, Chichester and Portsmouth, all separated by 1.4 seconds or 1.04 seconds. It's Bristol and Lancaster. They try to make a charge through the first 50 metres of this second leg, the breaststroke leg. So we'll see heats 3, 4 and 5 now. Then we'll move to the men's 400 medley team relay, so we'll see heats 4, 5 and 6. Then we come back to the earlier heats. We've got plenty of 50-metre freestyle events coming up as well. Plenty of heats coming up, both men's and women's. And over this second 100, it's Cambridge that have flown through. On the far side, Portsmouth in lane 9. Lancaster just nibbling back at Cambridge's advantage. First into the water, it's Portsmouth though. 0.33 ahead of Cambridge, 0.87 ahead of Lancaster. 1.5 back to Glasgow. And onto the butterfly leg. Fastest entry, not mentioned that yet, Chichester a 4:37. Oh, we did a 4:37.52 from Glasgow. So lanes 4 and 5 fastest on paper. But it's lane 3 ahead of lane 5, Cambridge. Now just over a second advantage, 2.7 back to Portsmouth now. Lancaster, early leaders, 2.76 behind. And it's still tight between Cambridge and Glasgow as we approach the final leg. And the fight for third has got 4 teams involved now. It's got Portsmouth, Warwick, Lancaster, and also Bristol. But Cambridge close to a second ahead of Glasgow. 75 to go. And it's still a 4-team race for third. We'll come back to that. Concentrate on the turn for a moment into the final 50. It's down to 0.41. It's been halved, Cambridge. It was 0.8 down to 0.41. 5 seconds back to Warwick, Lancaster, Portsmouth and Bristol. That's getting a little bit more separated now. We're in lane 5 now, Glasgow taking the advantage. And they're going to take this heat by a couple of seconds and put a marker down. Heats number 4 and 5. What's the time going to be? It's a 4:38. Cambridge just a couple of seconds behind, or a couple of tenths. 4:46 Warwick, 4:48 Bristol. So it started to separate in the final 150. And Glasgow almost exactly 1 second outside their entry time of 4:37.52. So a second and 100th behind. At 4:38 the marker set down. Chichester just bringing things home in lane 4. Before we move on to heat number 4. In heat 4 we're going to see Newcastle, Cardiff Met, Cardiff Uni, Bath, Loughborough, Bangor, East Anglia, Surrey, Sheffield Hallam and Leeds Beckett. Very, very busy poolside now with the medley teams. And the men will follow shortly after. So again from the near side, Newcastle, Cardiff Met, Cardiff, Bath, Loughborough, Bangor, East Anglia, Surrey, Sheffield Hallam and Leeds Beckett. This is heat number 4, event 307, the women's 400 metre medley team relay. So end of leg number 1, and Loughborough with an entry time of 4:05.6. Nearly 10 seconds ahead of Bangor's entry time of 4:14.5. And the leader's already 3.2 seconds through 100. Tight between Bath and East Anglia. Bangor actually weren't able to join us, so apart from Loughborough's 4:05, nearest entry time to that, 4:19 from Bath, so a 14-second swing. Halfway mark, Loughborough's lead only extending, only going one way this heat. 8 to 8.34 now over Bath. 4 minutes 38.53. Winning time in heat number 3. So the likes of Bath and East Anglia just need to ignore Loughborough really. It's all on the clock to make it into the final. It's a 9.5 now for Loughborough, with 125 to go. Cardiff Uni and East Anglia in a good fight for fourth. There's lane 0, Newcastle Uni on this near side. They're in a little tussle themselves with lane number 9, Leeds Beckett. Loughborough turn for the final 100 in 3:16. And now out to almost 12, 13 seconds. Back to Bath. Turning with 50 to go with 3:43.99. They've only got to beat 4:38 at the moment, is the mark put down by Glasgow. And that will be comfortably beaten by some margin. What can Bath do? Coming home in second place, a distant second, but again, if they can go under that 4:38, they still put themselves in prime position for a spot in the final a little later. So the official time 4:13.81 from Loughborough. Cracking swimming. Bath, who controlled second throughout, will come home. That's a 4:28. Still a good time, 10 seconds quicker than the winning time of heat number 2. And then Leeds, Beckett and Newcastle very close at the end, just 7/10 separating them. 4:34 for Newcastle. 0.26 and a 0.99 for Leeds Beckett. But 4:13.81, crikey. And we'll move on to heat number 5, where Edinburgh come in with a 4:01 entry. Manchester Met a 4:08. So the 4:13 that Loughborough just set could again be obliterated. And it would set us up for a cracking final later as well. Taking part in heat number 5, Leeds, Nottingham Trent, Oxford, Stirling, Edinburgh, Manchester Met, Birmingham, Aberdeen, Sheffield and York. From the YouTube chat box, Joe Gregory even. Good luck, Jake, from all at Horwich. You've got to give me some more clues, Joe. What team is Jake from? What university is representing? Is he in the relays at the moment? And George Williams, let's go Aberdeen. In lane 7 here in heat number 5. Entry time of 4:30 for Aberdeen. Again, Edinburgh, 4:01.89 on the entry. Manchester Met 4:08, Stirling 4:16. It's Stirling and Manchester through the first leg. who touched just 1700ths of a second apart. 1.3 back to Birmingham. Sheffield 2.5, Aberdeen inside 3 seconds. So just 0.23 separating Manchester Met and Stirling now. 2.4 back to Birmingham. Then into the 3s and 5s for Edinburgh, Oxford, Aberdeen. We saw last night how much things can swing over the second 200. And anyone other than Stirling and Manchester will be hoping for that right now. But Manchester will turn with the lead at the halfway stage. Edinburgh and Manchester. Now Edinburgh have come back into this one. They were a little bit far behind after the first 150 metres, but a cracking fourth 50 there as they move past Manchester into second. And they've got a big chase on to catch Manchester. They overtook Stirling, from third into second. So Manchester still with a 0.46 lead. Edinburgh 0.47. And Birmingham at 7 seconds. Now Stirling again. Edinburgh on the butterfly leg, going out too quick maybe. So they've lost a little bit more ground to Stirling. Manchester Met still out in front. Still fairly comfortable. As we move on to the freestyle. In fact, it's 4.04 seconds. 0.7. Back to Edinburgh. And after putting on a cracking chase at the start of the third leg, Edinburgh again find themselves under a little bit of pressure from the teams around them. Manchester do turn into the final 50, of course. It's down to 3.62, so 4 tenths taken off over that 50 metres. Edinburgh now 5.95, Birmingham at 8 seconds. The time to beat is 4.13. Set by Loughborough in heat 4. That won't be beaten, but it will be a comfortable win from start to finish for Manchester here in heat number 5. Stirling do come through to hold on to second place eventually. Edinburgh take out third. So a 4:20.16. Still the second best time from all the heats. Only a 4:13 from Loughborough beating that. So Stirling may find themselves in the final, as could Edinburgh. Again, all to be confirmed. Keep your eyes on the BUCS website. You can find all event information, all the start times, all the live results, everything you could ever wish to know about these long course championships. Coming to you live from Ponds Forge in Sheffield. And now we're going to move on to the men's. Event number 308, 400 metre medley team relay. And in heat number 4, it's going to be Nottingham Trent, Imperial College London, Sheffield, East Anglia, Cardiff Uni, Leeds Beckett, Newcastle, Liverpool and York. So we're going to see heats 4, 5 and 6 first of all. Then in a short while we will see heats 1, 2, 3. This just gives the likely teams going to be in the final a bit more time to prepare for that final later on. Instead of having them all in order, of course, they'd be racing a lot closer to their heat time. So this gives them a little advantage. And they've qualified in a time to give themselves this advantage. Again, From the near side, Nottingham Trent, Imperial College London, Sheffield, East Anglia, Cardiff Uni, Leeds Beckett, Newcastle, Liverpool, York. This is heat number 4. So already approaching 1:15, it's Newcastle in lane 7. Sheffield 3.23, Cardiff 6 seconds. Fastest coming in, actually matching times from Cardiff and Leeds. Both on 4 minutes 6 seconds. East Anglia came in on 4 minutes 9. And then Sheffield, Newcastle and Leeds Beckett all on 4:10s. So the lead's been reduced by some margin for Newcastle by Sheffield, now just 1.25 behind, 4 seconds out to Cardiff, 5.8 out to Leeds. So Newcastle have led from the off. And it's getting tighter and tighter now, under a second to Sheffield, under 2.6 to Cardiff, 3.9 to Leeds. Getting closer and closer as the meters tick away. Newcastle maybe just growing that lead now in the final 25 of this third butterfly leg. And look at those centre 4 lanes, giving their teammates every advantage for the final 100. Newcastle with the advantage. Then come Cardiff, East Anglia, Leeds and Sheffield, all within 2.4 and all within a second of each other. East Anglia taking the advantage so far on the freestyle. Can they catch Newcastle? It's getting closer and closer. Newcastle do turn first. What's the advantage now? 2.19. Definitely catchable. 2.76 to Cardiff, 2.86 to Leeds. All about the clock here. Newcastle, they've led from the off. They led by 2 or 3 seconds. It came down to less than 1 second. But over the final freestyle leg, they will bring it home in the end. It got a little bit nervy near the middle. In lane 3, East Anglia will win the battle of the centre lanes, just ahead of Leeds. And then Cardiff Uni maybe just struggling over the last 50 metres, chasing down teams at either side of them. But a good win for Newcastle, 4:05.33 sets the mark to beat. And in heat number 5 coming up, as we get the backstroke drop downs back in place. Athletes clear the pool. So Newcastle and East Anglia, the only teams under 4:10. Six of the teams in heat number 5 actually gone under 4 minutes. So expect to see that time of 4:05 broken of Newcastle. Heat 5, we've got Cambridge, Portsmouth, Manchester, Sheffield, Hallam, Loughborough, Edinburgh, Manchester Metropolitan, Oxford, Southampton and Surrey. End of leg 1, in lane 4 Loughborough Uni, with their entry time of 3 minutes 38.3. 5 seconds ahead of the entry time of Edinburgh, 12 ahead of Sheffield Hallam with a 3:50. Again, we saw Newcastle with an early comfortable lead in heat number 4. And it got down to within a second at one point before streaking away again at the end. So just 150 metres in, but already a great lead from Loughborough. Closest to them Edinburgh, 5.71. And they're very tight with Manchester, Oxford, Portsmouth. So 4:05, the time of Newcastle in the previous heat. Loughborough handover in the lead at the halfway stage. Onto the butterfly. And it's again still catchable, 5.32, 5.52. That's Edinburgh and Manchester Metropolitan. To their side in lane 7, Oxford Uni. Lane number 3, Sheffield Hallam. So what's the lead now? It was 5.3. Oh, down to 5.23. A tenth taken off from Edinburgh. Of course, needs to be an average of over a second per 50 now. In fact, almost 2 seconds per 50 with 150 to go. So a big ask. So leading from the gun, and Loughborough was 5.23 the advantage. So ignore those timing splits. The Loughborough's touchboard not activating on that split. We can see in the pool it's still at least 5 seconds, so no concern whatsoever. We'll find out at this split, hopefully. There's Loughborough's time. So still outside 5 seconds, but coming down marginally, not enough to challenge Loughborough. Edinburgh the closest, then Manchester Metropolitan. .405 the time to beat. They're going to be well under that. They're going to be well under 4 minutes. Even get close to 3:50, just going to be outside. 3:51 to their side in lane 5. Edinburgh throughout, 3:55. Manchester and Sheffield also under 4 minutes. Oxford Uni just outside, but there's 4 times, 5 times, 6, 7 times. 7 times quicker than the winning time from heat number 4, which was the 4:05 from Newcastle. That looked like a cracking time when we were watching the heat, but as you can see now, he's been beaten by some 13 seconds by Loughborough, 10 seconds by Edinburgh, 6 by Sheffield. 3:51 the new time to beat. So we on to the final heat, heat number 6. And from the near side, we'll see Lancaster, Chichester, Glasgow, Bath, Stirling, Swansea, Birmingham, Warwick, Sunderland and Cardiff Metropolitan. 3:51 the time to beat. Fastest on paper coming in, Stirling 3:36, Swansea 3:42, Bath 3:48. So much tighter affair in the early stages here in heat number 6. Swansea with a second or so advantage into the second leg. In fact, 1.19. Birmingham 2.62. Stirling inside 3 seconds, then up to 5. Back to Glasgow and Sunderland beyond. Again, 3:36 from Stirling coming in. 3:51 was the winning time of Loughborough in heat number 5. That's the fastest time thus far. And just to let you know the finals of these events, so the women's and the men's 400 metre medley team relays, they will be tomorrow PM, so tomorrow evening session. And Stirling have come back at Swansea over the second 100, and that second deficit is turned into a second advantage. Bath 3.5, Birmingham 4.6, Glasgow still maintaining 7-second deficit. And just to try and confirm the timings for you, the finals of this event and also the women's version, they will be from tomorrow in session 6. That's from 2:30 PM onwards. We'll see the finals of these events, 2:30 PM onwards tomorrow. Again, BUCS website, all this is available to you, all this information. And Stirling maintaining that lead over Swansea into the final leg. It was 0.98 of a second, it's now 1.46, so half a second gained over the third 100 metres. Bath still out in third, in 3:21. Birmingham within 5 seconds. Stirling now up to 2.17 ahead of Swansea. Swansea are early leaders through the first 100. That was overturned in the second 100, extended in the third, and it's been extended in the fourth and final leg also. So 5 metres to go. What time are they going to get? It's a 3:51 to beat. It's going to be very close indeed. It's a 3:50.96. So fastest time of the heats for Stirling, a 3:50.96. 3:54 on the button for Swansea. And then a 3:55, a 3:56, Bath and Birmingham. All cracking times, all under 4 minutes. We had 6 times under 4 minutes in heat number 5, so it's going to be down to the calculators and the timings to see who's in the final tomorrow PM. There will be A finals and B finals, so all these teams involved in some respect, but of course the A finals where we'll be dishing out the gold, silver and the bronze medals. So that concludes for now the men's 400 metre medley team relay heats. We now go back to the women's backstroke, and we're just going to see heat number 1. Then we'll see the men's 200 metre backstroke, just heat number 1, before we move on to the 50 metre freestyles for men's and women's. Plenty of those heats to come in about 5 or 6 minutes time. But we go back to event 301. This is heat number 1, the women's 200 metre backstroke. In lane 3, you're going to see Jess Feely of Kiel, teammate Emma Perry of Kiel in 4, and in 5, Jimin Han of London. All 3 entry times separated by less than 1 second. Plenty of support on the YouTube chat coming for Bloomy. Even a suggestion that Bloomy might be better than PT. Come on. Into the pool. Again, entry times just 1 second separating all 3. And as you can see, Jimin Han of London, a fairly comfortable leader approaching the 3/4 mark. So we will just see heat number 1, then we'll move on to the men's. We'll just see heat number 1 in the men's 200 metre backstroke, and then we'll continue with event 303, which is the women's 50 metre freestyle. We'll see 10 of those heats. And then the men's 50 metre freestyle, again 10 of those heats. So plenty of fast action coming up. And heat number 1, Jimin Han is going to go just under 2:51. She does indeed, 2:50.44. So that's 5 seconds better than her entry time. In lane 3, Jess Feely, 2:58, just outside her entry, as is Emma Perry in lane number 4. And now we go straight on to the men. This is event 302. And we'll just see heat number 1. And taking part will be Isaac Evans of Exeter, Chris Redfern of Lancaster, and Ross Large of Leeds. 2:25 from Redfern, fastest entry. 2:34 from Large, 2:35 from Evans. This is event 302, the men's 200 metre backstroke, heat number 1. Halfway stage, Chris Redfern, Lancaster, 2:25 his entry. He will turn in a 1:09.67. Evans 2:04 behind. Large 3.5. Again, get involved using the hashtag BUCS Nationals. And the BUCS centenary year of British university sports. They'll be coming down later this evening for the session for the finals, or tomorrow. Don't forget our partners are here, Cookery, Camp America. Especially with them, you can win a chance to be on a Camp America tour. An entire tour of the US included in that competition. Redfern not only maintaining but extending that advantage he had at the halfway stage. So he will take the win in this heat number 1. Going to be quite close to his entry time of 2:25 with 10 to go. Maybe not going to quite make it. Or will he prove me wrong and just get inside? It has 2:25.68. Just 68 outside, followed by Ross Large 2:31 and Isaac Evans 2:35. And that is the conclusion of all the heats in both the men's and women's backstrokes. Again, if you're just joining us, we saw earlier in the session heats 2, 3 and 4 from both events. We've now come back and completed them with heats 1 in both the men's and the women's. And we now do the same with event 303, the women's 50 metre freestyle. We've already seen the fastest 3 heats, heats 11, 12, 13, and now we're going to see heats 1 to 10. And that will start with Sally Phillips in lane 1 of Cardiff, swimming in the S7 category. Charlotte Smith of Kiel, Lizzie Kenyon Chichester, Frances Moyer of Hull, Elena Sotredu of Sunderland, Susanna Hext of British Swimming in the S5 category, Charlotte Goodship of Chichester, and Laura Pilkington of Robert Gordon swimming in the S6 category. Heat number 1, 10 to come. So fastest entry, 38.1, Francis Moyer of Hull. Very tight indeed between Moyer, Sotredu and Hext. 38.76 from Sotredu, 40.6 from Hext. And it will go to Moyer in 4, 36.66, well under the entry time. Second place from Hexton, a 37.32 in the S5 category. 47.14 from Pilkington in the S6. And a 44.03 from Phillips in the S7. And we'll take no time at all to move on to heat number 2. From the near side, Katie Hobbs, Liverpool John Moore. Cheyenne Barnes of Bedfordshire, Grace Harvey of Manchester in the S6, London teammates Jay Weston and Emma Tomaselli, Catherine Healy of Coventry in the S12, Millie Pettigrew of Bangor, Victoria Patriska of Northampton, Ella Cooper-Holm of Manchester Met in the S7 category, and Amy Aston of Northampton. This is heat number 2. Great support from poolside as ever. Early lead from lane 7. That's Victoria Pokrashak of Northampton. In lane number 1, Shine Barnes of Bedfordshire. In 9, Amy Aston, Northampton. But it will be Pokrashak of Northampton in 7 to take the win in heat number 2. Just ahead of Cheyenne Barnes. It's a 31.82 for Victoria. 33.28 from Barnes from Bedfordshire. And in third place in the end, Millie Pettigrew Bangor in 6. Not forgetting Grace Harvey in the S6 there, 36.25. Catherine Healy, S12. Also good time, as is Ella Cooper-Holm. We now move on to heat number 3. From the near side, Saskia Holmes of Winchester, Hazel Parsons, University West of England, Jessica Fenny Aberystwyth, Ellie Hall Leicester, Emily Milner Coventry, Claire Cashmore Northumbria, swimming in the S9 category, Rhiannon Flynn Hull, Molly McKenna Queen Mary, Ella Colvely Coventry, and Bryony Dobbin Liverpool John Moore. This is heat number 3. So fastest entry in heat number 3, Emily Milner, Coventry, 32.95, 500ths even ahead of Northumbria's Claire Cashmore in 5. And it is Cashmore that's leading that race down the centre. To her sides, Rhiannon Flynn and Emily Milner doing everything they can, but it is going to go to Cashmore, 31.75. That's a good 1¼ seconds quicker than her entry time. 33 it was coming in, but 31.75 cracking time. Emily Milner from Coventry second, Rhiannon Flynn of Hull third. All under 32.5. On to heat number 4. Olivia Martin, Winchester, Eleanor Hurd, King's College, Jordan Sturt, Bedfordshire, Rosie Bancroft, Manchester, S10 category, Nottingham Trent, Sarah Patrick, Gloucester's Laura Nix, Nottingham's Eloise Montana, Nottingham Trent, Lauren Fisher, De Montfort's Carlotta Fermontes, and Brunel's Emily Auckland. This is heat number 4. Good start in lane number 2, Jordan Sturt, Bedfordshire. Also lane number 6, Eloise Montana, Nottingham in 6. The centre lanes as we expect them, not charging through the centre. And the early start from Jordan Sturt, Bedfordshire, she's taken advantage of that as well, held it throughout the entire 50 metres. Eloise Montana will get second, both under 30 seconds, 29.09 for Sturt, 29.51 for Montana. Third place just outside 30 seconds is Sarah Patrick, Nottingham Trent, 30.19, but 29.09 for Sturt. Almost 2 full seconds under entry time of 31.79. We'll move on to heat number 5, so already halfway through these 10 heats for the women. Then we'll have 10 heats for the men. Heat number 5, Shields of King's College, Champion of Lancaster, Pearson of Derby, Daw of Royal Holloway, Faulkner of Exeter, Al Haddad of Brunel, Davis of Durham, Steele of Manchester Met, Bingham of Angus Oskin, and Emily Louise Basvick of Imperial. The fastest on paper, 30.5, Alex Faulkner of Exeter. We've had 2 swimmers under 30 seconds in the previous heat, a 29.02 Marimba. And in fact, lane 1 again doing very well. Hannah, Champion of Lancaster, 30.1. Fastest time, 30.71 Charlotte Daw. And also just coming in under 31 seconds, Libby Steele of Manchester Met. But again, the wind going away from the outside lanes. And AUB representing Arts University of Bournemouth, that was Lydia Bingham. And we'll move on to heat number 6. So we've got Leslie of Aberdeen, Reid of Liverpool, Rawley West of Scotland, Davy of Lincoln, Morgan of Exeter, Brooks of Warwick, Cook of Bangor, Osborne of Bournemouth, Ow of Bradford and Venables of Worcester. Fastest entry, 29.5. Alki Morgan. 29.6, Kat Brooks of Warwick. So very tight indeed. Maybe lane 2, Carla Brawley, just with the nose in front. Lane 7, Hannah Osborne of Bournemouth. Again, the centre lanes failing to live up to the entry times. And over the last 25, it will be indeed, or the last 10 metres even, Carla Brawley, 29.15, cracking time from her. Only woman under 30 seconds. Closest to her was 100th outside, Hannah Osborne of Bournemouth. Then Megan Cook of Bangor, 30.4. And coming in under 30.5, Freya Reid of Liverpool, but 29.15. Good time there. The West of Scotland athlete, Carla Brawley. And on to heat number 7. Lane of St Andrews, Scott of Kent, Marston of Aberdeen, Long of Bradford, Brown of Hertfordshire, Walker of Salford, Kinley of Sheffield Hallam, Beavers of Kiel, Redfern of Worcester in the S13 category, and Bunker of Sheffield. And it's Brown with the fastest entry, 28.93. 29 on the nose for Walker of Salford coming in, 29.01 for Kinley. And it's lane 6, Kinley in fact, that has the early lead. Lane 0, Eleanor Lane of St Andrews also involved. But you couldn't draw a straighter line across the centre apart from Amy Kinley of Sheffield. She'll take the win in this one. So 29, where is she? She's a 28.88 in fact. Wonderful time for her. 5/100ths quicker than the fastest entry time. And 3/10ths quicker than her own entry time. 29.74 for Marsden, 29.76 for Lane, 29.99 for Bunker, so 4 under 30 seconds. On to heat number 8, Tomlinson of Leeds Beckett, Grace of Manchester Met, Card of Portsmouth, Richardson of Edge Hill, Portsmouth Wallace in 4, Cambridge's Crawford in 5, Wood of Arts University Bournemouth in 6, Edge Hill of Jones, Rylance of Liverpool, and McCart of Sheffield. Every single entry time in heat number 8 is under 29 seconds. So we've seen a few so far with finishing times under 30, maybe 6 or 7. You'd expect them to start flurrying through now in heat number 8. And I'm looking towards lanes 7 and 9, Hannah Jones and Molly McCart for the win here in heat number 8. And it does go that way. It's Jones ahead of McCart, 28.8, 28.82, 2/100ths separating those two. 28.85 for Crawford. So 3 under 29 seconds now. Everybody, all 10 under 30 seconds. And moving on to heat number 9, penultimate heat of this 10. Durkin of Newcastle, Solkowski of Oxford, Howes of Bristol, Hurd of Nottingham, Crane of Southampton, Garnett of Manchester, Morawa of Southampton, Dermery of Swansea, Farr of Leeds Beckett, and Quash of Hertfordshire. 28.3, equal faster times from Crane and Garnett. And the best start coming from Alexandra Hurd of Nottingham in 3. So important over these shorter races to get a cracking start, she has done. As has lane 1's Louisa Zolkowski. And on the far side, Grace Farr and Sophie Quash. And it is in fact lane 1, Louisa Zolkowski, who come through to take it. 28.05. Second place goes to the far side, Sophie Quash of Hertfordshire. Then comes inside her one lane, Grace Farr of Leeds Beckett. And then you have Alexandra Hurd, the early leader, 28.67. Just falling through to 4th at the end. 28.05 though from Louisa of Oxford. And now finally we have heat number 10. Kirkpatrick of Lancaster on the near side, Hodgson of Warwick, Van Dongen of Bath, Hall of Gloucester, Williams University West of England, Britton of York, Valdivesio of Durham, Skippenardu of Leeds, Brewer of York, and Binning of East Anglia. Entry times now under 28 seconds, so 27.9 for Williams, 27.9 for Britton, and 27.9 for Hall of Gloucester. And a much more even start on this one. Maybe Rebecca Britton of York in lane 5 with the advantage, and it is growing actually half a body length, which at this stage is fairly significant. Lane number 2, Naomi Van Dongen close as well. So the win does go to Britton of York, 27.83, cracking time. Van Dongen did hang on for second, 28.38, and then Sophie Hall of Gloucester will take third place. Again, every single time under 30 seconds, winning time 27.83. And after 10 heats from the women, we now have 10 heats from the men. Same event, 50 metre freestyle. Again, mixed classification. Plenty of S categories coming up. So Picken of Cardiff Met in lane 0 in the S7 category, Suzuki of Northumbria in the S5 category. We've got Porter of Kiel, Patanka of St George's, Healy of Aberystwyth, Jones of British Swimming, an invitee of S7 category, Topman Canterbury, Mullen of Glasgow, S5 category, and Taki of Northampton and Day of Chichester. Good start over in lane 8, and Taki of Northampton. Entry time 39.4, the quickest Tom Haley 30.89, so quite a significant difference. And lane 3, Arthur Patanka of St George's, cruising past lanes 4, 5 and 6. And what's his time going to be? 28.53. That's 3 seconds quicker than his entry. Second place goes to Tom Healy, just outside 30 seconds. Third to Sebastian Antaki, the guy with the cracking start at the top of the heat. In lane 0, Gareth Pickens going to come in for Cardiff Met in the S7 category at a 50.93. So that's beaten his entry time by 5 seconds. On the far side, Liam Martin Day of Chichester come in with a 1:19. And he's going to crack that quite comfortably as well, a 1:01 in fact. And on to heat number 2 as the pool clears. We'll see Aaron Maddox from Swansea in the S8 category in lane 0. From the near side to the far, Stocklin of Liverpool John Moore, Finity of Glasgow Caledonia, Morris of Bradford, Pierce Harrison of Sunderland, Newcomb of Liverpool John Moore, Devon or Dewey Barron of Northampton, Monios of Queen Mary, Winter of Sheffield and Ernst of Bangor. .02 William Peace Harrison, and only in fact less than 1 second separating all 10 in the pool. And William Pearce Harrison, fastest man on paper, currently fastest in the pool to the 15-metre marker. Far side, lane 9, Jan Ernst of Bangor involved, as is lane number 1, Jason Stocklin, Liverpool John Moore. The win will go to 4, it will be William Pearce. Second place will go to Stocklin on the near side. Liverpool John Moore, 28.79. The winning time though, William Pearce Harrison, 28.11. So almost a second better than his entry time. And then Dewey Barron, Ernst also under the 30-second mark. Lee Newcomb 100th outside, 30 on the nose. And we'll move on to heat number 3. Again, 10 heats to come. In heat number 3, Grob of De Montfort, Devine of Canterbury, Amarasena Kiel, Llewellyn of Aberystwyth, Couch of Leeds Beckett, Finn of Leicester, Adefisen of Nottingham in the S9 category, Sales of Winchester, Davis of Nottingham Trent, Mason Rowe of Winchester. So every entry time under 30 seconds now from here on in. 27.57 leads Beckett's David Couch. For lane 7, Adam Sales of Winchester, clear advantage already through the halfway stage into the final 5 metres. It's his race, it's his heat comfortably. 25.85 from Adam Sales. Goodness me. That's worthy of an entry time or heat in the much later stages, but pulled one out the bag there. Second place for Kiel, still a good time in 27.7, but almost a full 2 seconds behind Sales. Llewellyn in third, 27.85. Those are the only 3 under 28, but 25.85 Winchester Adam Sales from lane number 7. Time to be proud of there. We'll move on to heat number 4. Again, not a lot of time to hang around and talk about these heats. They just come flying through. O'Connell of Worcester on the near side, Parker of King's College, Montgomery Royal Holloway, Chamberlain of Strathclyde, Nielsen of Bournemouth, Rem University of West of England, Curran Nottingham Trent, Perkins of Brunel, Williams of Liverpool, Offler of Leeds Beckett. So no clear advantage at the halfway stage. Maybe lane number 5, Ketchel Rem, University West of England. To his right-hand side though, lane 7 and 8, Parkins and Williams. Will he just hold on? He does indeed, just by 1/10 of a second. 25.99 for Rem, 26.1 for Williams. And then 2/10 again back, 26.29 for Ben Perkins. Look at these times though, 28.83 the slowest. Getting quicker and quicker, and the second man under 26 seconds. Casual Rem at University West of England in lane 5. And we'll move on to heat number 5. And in heat 5, John Law of Stirling in the S13 category, Eastwood of BUCS Newham, Campbell Williams of Brunel, Hill of Bristol, Timbrell of Hertfordshire, Redwood of Kent, Stevenson Surrey, Dorland at Durham, Cook of York and Ward of Bradford. Every single entry time starting with 26 point something. And a much tighter heat here. Lane number 3, Sam Hill of Bristol. Maybe 8 in front, but lane number 2, Jed Campbell-Williams of Brunel. It's going to be between those two, and it is separated by just 1/10 of a second. Sam Hill gets it, 25.87, 25.98 for Campbell-Williams, so 11 hundredths behind. Then we go down to 26.3 for Hertfordshire's Luke Timbrell. But again, every single time under 28, quickest of which Sam Hill, 25.87. We'll move on to heat number 6 with no hesitation. So Lewis White of Manchester Met categorised in the S9 in 0. Berkey of Hertfordshire, Erie of Southampton, Vulgarakis of Kent, Frost of Nottingham, Bibby of Royal Holloway, Pirrett University West of England, Ryder King's College, Bryden of York and Price of Chichester. Good starts on the far side from lanes 6 and 8. Danny Pirrett and Fraser Bryden. Bryden may be the better of the two. And through the halfway stage, it's him a half a body length in front. Pretty tight between the rest of the pool. Lane 4, Dominic Frost coming back at the end. He's going to take second. The win will go to Bryden, 24.65. First man under 25 seconds in this earlier set of heats. 25.48 for Frost. Rounding out the top 3, 25.82, Southampton's Cian Erie. But we just get quicker and quicker, as you'd anticipate. But Fraser Bryden, 24.65. Almost 2 seconds quicker than his entry time. And we move on to heat number 7 of 10, of course. Still in event 304. Payne of Leicester, Clegg of St Andrews, Langley of Bristol, Birchall of Anglia Ruskin, Port of Gloucester, Sharkey of Derby, Weston of Lancaster, Watson of Robert Gordon, Dancer of Salford, Smith of Sheffield Hallam. The quickest start coming from lane 0, that's Nick Payne of Leicester. Only 1/4 of a second separating all the entry times, but storming through in lane 7, Pat Dancer of Salford, dancing towards a win quite comfortably here in heat number 7. And look at that time, 23.97, first man under 24. Second place, 25.76, so a good second lead. Alec Birchall there, Anglia Ruskin. Third place will be Henry Port of Gloucester. 23.97, that is 1.8 seconds quicker than Birchall in second place. Eddie Watson, fantastic swim, the man from Robert Gordon. And now we move on to heat number 8. From the near side, Willits of Lancaster, Thompson of Coventry, Bolton from Birmingham, Lezard of Cambridge, Morris of Cardiff, Zhang of London, Williams of Exeter, James of Durham, Strover of Bournemouth, and Wellington of Gloucester. Wellington in the S13 category. Every entry time under 26 seconds. Every entry time separated by just 0.21 of a second. So again, expect something close unless somebody does something particularly special. Looks to be coming possibly from 5 and 6, Zhang and Williams. It's those two leading the field, absolutely neck and neck. Can't draw any more of a straight line between the rest of the field, so it goes to 5 and 6. It's Williams that gets it, 25.16. It's actually a dead heat, in fact, from Williams and Zhang, both on 25.16. Then comes Thompson, 25.51. Only two men outside 26 seconds. So again, separated by a quarter of a second on the entry, and only 0.75 the top 9 in the heat itself. On to heat number 9. From this near side, Bugakov of London, Sim of Sheffield, Cannon of Cambridge, Evans of Southampton, Broadway of Coventry, Owen of East Anglia, Jones of Gloucester, McPherson of Cardiff Med, Aston of Leeds, and Elcock of Sheffield Hallam. Again, every entry inside 26 seconds. So a little bit more of a split field in this one. Lane number 8, Reece Aston of Leeds, leading Theo Cannon on the near side of Cambridge in 2. In fact, that has been turned around in the last 10 metres, 24.65 from Aston. Theo Cannon does get it of Cambridge, 24.58, so another man under 25 seconds. So Cannon ahead of Aston, then Evans of Southampton, 25.13. And we'll move on to our final heat of these earlier heats. Had 3 heats previous in the session, heats 11, 12, 13. So if you want to know who's in the finals a little bit later, just check the BUCS website, of course. And heat number 10 from the near side for the final time in these 50-metre heats. Ritchie of Swansea, Duckworth of Imperial, Westerman of Exeter, Moore of East Anglia, Wilson of Birmingham, Belenganoff of Leeds, Can Bosgert of Arts, Bournemouth, Leslie of Heriot Watson, Fowle of Portsmouth, on Ovrebo of Imperial. This time again we look towards the far side. Ewan Leslie, Heriot Watson in Southern, and in 8 James Fall of Portsmouth. In lane 3 Harry Moore. This is the tightest hit we've had so far, and it actually goes to Steve Wilson in the centre, 24.73. Harry Moore 24.87 just to his side. Look at that, if you could see the scoreboard here in order. 24.73, 24.87, 24.89, 24.89. So 1600 separating the top 4, then 25 seconds for Can Bosgert in 5th. Incredibly tight indeed. So that is the conclusion of the heats in the 50-metre events. We now go to the women's 200-metre breaststroke. So this is heat 1 from event 305. We've already seen heats 2, 3 and 4. So just one heat to come. And from the near side, we're going to see Eleanor Griffin of York, Alicia Pollard of Surrey, Juliet Buckle of Sheffield, Scarlett Tang of Kiel, Lara Caglian of Cardiff, Summer Horn of Coventry, Anne-Marie Smith of Portsmouth, and Evelyn Garner of Southampton. Fastest entry, 2:58.91, Scarlett Tang of Kiel. Now, forgive me, on the YouTube web chat with the 50-metre races, no time whatsoever to update who's been saying what. So I'll go back about 10 minutes maybe. So there's a bit of go Alex Birchall. Harry one of the best. Nice Alex second place. Rion commentating on the dead heat. Couple of messages for James. Let's go James. Come on James. Come on James. And then Joe Gregory, well done race from everyone at Horwich. And Go Juliet just coming in from Jack Carr. So back to heat number 1 here in the 200 metre breaststroke. Again, we're back to event 305. After this, we will see one heat in the men's 200 metre breaststroke. That again will be heat number 1. And then we revert back to the earlier heats of event 307 and 308. That is the women's and then the men's medley team relays. So halfway lead from Griffin, 122. It's a fairly nice lead as well over Pollard, 4.52 behind. But then a fairly close fight between the 3 behind our leader. And that includes Tang and Caglian of Cardiff. They're separated by just a tenth. So just to keep you up to date, this is session 3 on day 2. We're coming to you live from Ponds Forge. We are at poolside, streaming live online. Thank you for joining us if you are listening and watching in. Again, get involved, send us a comment or a message. We'll read out as many as we can. You can use the hashtag BUCSNational on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram. And as you know, plenty of sports going on across Sheffield and around the country of this BUCS National weekend. Athletics going on locally. There's also some judo, some climbing. I think I saw some fencing earlier as well. So plenty to be involved and watching. And in lane number 1, Eleanor Griffin of York. She'll take the win here in heat number 1. 2:51.39. Just to her inside in lane 2, Alicia Pollard of Surrey comes under the 3-minute mark. Tang just misses out, 3:02. So again, just the one heat to see here. BUCS website for all the event information on every sport, but particularly the swimming. You can see the live timing. You can see the race schedules, not only for this session, but also the sessions later on this evening. And of course, we've got sessions tomorrow as well. And some Horn of Coventry just closing out the heat before we move on to the men's equivalent. So this is event 306 now, heat number 1. We've already seen heats 2, 3 and 4 at the start of the session. So the men's 200 metre breaststroke heat 1, Matt Crisp of Warwick in lane 0, Nathan Bradley of Keele in 1, Ben Wilkinson, Anglia Ruskin in 2, Jamie Rogers at Liverpool in 3, Jack Newton York in 4, Gonzalo Rivera of Glasgow in 5, Dante Ben Martinelli of Bangor in 6, Sam Grimshaw of Leeds in 7, and Connor Spicer of Keele in 8. Fastest entry, 2:42.41, Jack Newton of York, lane 4. So Newton leading at the 50 metre mark. Already 2 seconds plus ahead of at least 3 closest competitors, out to 2.7. On the YouTube chat, Rory Minor, you've said, come on, Ree. I'm looking at my start sheet. I'm trying to find out who Ree is. Give me a clue, Rory, and I'll do a proper shout out. Back to the heat in lane 4, Jack Newton of York. Just extending that lead. It was only 2 seconds at the 50-metre mark. It's going to be at least double that at the halfway mark, maybe even triple that. It is 3.79 to Rogers, 4.21 and 2.2 to Martinelli and Wilkinson, and then beyond 5 to the rest of the pool. The entry time of Newton, again 2.42. Rivero and Rogers just 3 seconds behind on the entry. And Rory, there we go, that's better on the web chat. Anne-Marie from Portsmouth. Right, now it kind of makes sense. And apologies for missing the shout out. She was, of course, in that previous event, heat number 1 of event 305. I do try my best to keep up, trust me. So lane 4, Jack Newton maintaining, or not only maintaining, growing his lead in here in this final heat for you in the 200-metre breaststroke. It was 2 seconds, then it was 4 seconds, and it looks something like 6. Final time will be 2:39.71, so 3 seconds ahead of his entry time. Coming in second place in heat 1 is Jamie Rogers of Liverpool, 8 seconds back. Then you've got Ben Wilkinson in 2, so all the action happening on this near side of the pool. They're the top 3. So 2:39.71, possibly not a time to get into the final, because we've already had the 3 quicker heats earlier on in the session, as we do with all the events here at the BUCS Nationals. And Nathan Bradley, Keel just rounding out his time. And now we move on. We're back to the women's and the men's 400-metre medley team relays. It's not mixed, we've got women's followed by the men's. So 2 heats in the women's, followed by 3 heats in the men's. So just for your paperwork, this is event 307, the women's mixed classification 400-metre medley team relay, or 4x1, call it what you like. And in heat 1 we'll have from the near side Northampton, London, Bradford, Southampton, Bedfordshire, Hull and Aberystwyth. Fastest on paper, Southampton, 5:06 coming in. So again, heat 307. Heat number 1 of event 307. Northampton, London, Bradford, Southampton, Bedfordshire, Hull and Aberystwyth competing in this one. Going towards the end of the first leg, and it's lane 8, Bangor Uni in control on the far side. If you watched the heats earlier, then you know the first 200 metres doesn't mean too much. We've seen leads of 5 or 6 seconds being eaten up quite comfortably, and the lead is currently 4.42 over Hull. 5 seconds to London, then 6 and 7. It's keeping fairly maintained and controlled out in the front. Lanes 4 and 6, Southampton and Hull, neck and neck. Bedfordshire just trailing slightly. Then you look to lanes 2 and 3, London and Bradford. So Bangor still in the lead. The lead is now 5.5, it's grown by a second or so. Southampton out to 7.8, and then Bedfordshire the only other ones within 10 seconds. So a fairly split field at this early stage. And those 3 centre lanes, Southampton, Bedfordshire and Hull, actually getting a little bit closer together now as we approach the halfway stage. The third leg, the butterfly leg. So Bangor lead with a 2:34. My goodness me, in lane 5 Bedfordshire, you'd have seen the time skip across the top right hand corner very quickly then. If it's beyond 12 seconds, you have to fight to see it. And in lane 6 Hull as well, half a second behind at that turn at the halfway, but already past Bedfordshire in lane 5. And now Bedfordshire actually chasing down Bangor. They've gained at least 4 seconds on that 50 metres alone. So Bangor under a little bit of pressure now. It looked fairly comfortable at the halfway mark. 12-second lead. That's gone down to 8. It's getting shorter and shorter before the freestyle leg. It's going to be down to about 4, maybe even 3 seconds into this final 100 metres. The race behind them between Bradford, Southampton and Bedfordshire getting tight as well. So it is down to 2.61 seconds. So that 100 metres there, the third 100 metres, 10-second gained by Hull over Bangor. One final leg to come. Bradford taking the advantage in lane 3 for third place. So they're inside Southampton, Bedfordshire, still chasing. We go back to the far hand side and the far end of the pool. Bangor, it got down to 2.5. It's now grown back out again to 3.4 from Hull. So after a bit of a scare in that third 100, it does look like Bangor are going to bring this one home. The fight for third place in this heat really hotting up in lanes 3 and 4. Bradford and Southampton separated by less than half a metre, but Bangor will take the win in lane number 8. They got their lead up to 12 seconds at one point, then it came down to 2.5, and they'd stretched it out again to around about the 6-second mark. 4:58 from Bangor, 6 seconds back to Hull in 5:04, and the race for third is won by Southampton in 5:08. Then come Bradford, 5:12. That was a great cracking fight for third between those two for the second 200 metres. But great applause from Bangor, their teammates on the far side of the ball. You can just see them next to the BUCS banner, arms raised when they did finally complete the win. It was close for a little while. And then over that final 75 metres, it was just confirmed. And the two final swimmers just bringing home London. And then in lane 7, Aberystwyth complete the heat. And let's hope the next two, or the next one at least, the second and final heat to complete in this 400-metre medley team relay for the women, can be as entertaining as that. So heat number 2 from the near side, King's College London, Coventry Uni, Kiel, Manchester, Durham, Hertfordshire, Bournemouth, St Andrews, Queen Mary and Kent. Fastest entries 4:46 from Durham, 4:47 from Hertfordshire, and then a 4:50 Manchester. So the second and final heat to complete. Then we'll finish the session with 3 men's heats. Lane 5 Hertfordshire. I'm going to call them early leaders, but it's not much of a lead. Bournemouth to their side, Durham to the other. St Andrews involved. Lane 9 Kent still in. Manchester in lane 3. So Hertfordshire do turn first at the end of the first leg. Less than a second separating them, Bournemouth and Durham. 1.68 to St Andrews. So a bit more of a distinctive advantage now for Hertfordshire, to just over 2 seconds over Manchester. St Andrews 2.62. Durham also there. And approaching the halfway stage, in fact you could even see Manchester take the lead into the third leg. Coming back inch by inch. Hertfordshire leaders for the first 190 metres, but it will be Manchester to enter the water first for the third leg. So they've turned a 2-second deficit into a 1-second advantage. St Andrews 5.48, Durham 6.6, Kent and Bournemouth up towards the 10-second mark. Very tight indeed, 150 to go, still with Manchester down under 1 second now, 0.74 over Hertfordshire. It's been these throughout the first 250 metres. Nobody really challenging. Lane number 7, St Andrews, the closest to them, but plenty of work to do. So cracking second 50 on the butterfly. As Hertfordshire back in the lead. And that is a fantastic butterfly leg there from the Manchester athlete. In fact, turned a 1 second disadvantage on its head, now 4.5 seconds ahead of St Andrews. And that grows and grows. And lane number 7, St Andrews, and lane number 3, Manchester, it's all turned around. So again, also St Andrews had a crack in third leg. Hertfordshire a crack in third leg, and they'll take a lead, not over Manchester, but a lead over St Andrews into the final 50. 5 tenths separating those two, St Andrews and Manchester. But Hertfordshire, as again we've seen so many times, there's a lead early on, then it gets dragged back, and eventually they come through in that final leg, and it will be a win by 4 or 5 seconds or so. And you can't call second place because Manchester are coming back at St Andrews. It is a win for Hertfordshire, and they do come back, Manchester, 4:54.61. Eventually half a second ahead of St Andrews. That chopped and changed throughout, but Hertfordshire the leaders throughout in 4:50.91. Good racing. We'll shortly move on to the men's equivalent event, of where we will see 3 heats, and that will be the end of session number 3. Session 4 will begin at 6 p.m, and that is just finals, 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 right through to the end of day 2 here in Sheffield. So Queen Mary complete the heat. And now on to event number 308, or back to event 308. The men's 400 metre medley team relay, or 4x1. In heat number 1, just 3 teams. You're going to see Northampton, Kent and Bangor. .4:53 the entry time from Kent, 4:54 Bangor, and then beyond 5:09 Northampton. So again, heat 1, Northampton, Kent and Bangor, 3 heats to come. So leg 1 complete, Kent out in front, Bangor 385. And then a bit of a gap back already to lane number 3, Northampton. So just maintaining that pretty slender advantage over Bangor, 2.25. In fact, Northampton coming back over this leg as well. That gap's shortened. So approaching the fourth and final leg. And in fact, Northampton, when earlier being at a disadvantage, now got a cracking lead. So just goes to show how things can turn around in 1.5 legs. Actually, incredible turnaround. Kent, the early leaders, now trailing by some way. The lead 2.9 seconds now for Bangor. Kent coming back into this still, 6.87. This heat isn't over yet. And Northampton hanging on. But Bangor in lane 5 coming through, as is lane number 4, Ken. This could be neck and neck on the line, in fact. What a wonderful finish over these last 400 metres, the last 100 metres. Oh my goodness me. And I can't believe it. Kent have got it in the end of 4:47. 8 tenths ahead of Bangor, and Northampton got a ginormous lead going into that final leg. Find themselves coming a second and a half behind. That is absolutely incredible. Never write anybody off in the medley relays. And we'll move on to heat number 2. Let's hope it can be as exciting as that one. In heat number 2, you're going to see from the near side Aberystwyth, St Andrews, Queen Mary, King's College London, Liverpool John Moores, Bournemouth, Bradford, Keele and Brunel. Heat number 2 of just 3 to come, and then we go into a break. So into the first leg. A lot tighter affair than heat number 1. It is being led though by Bradford in 6. Fastest on paper, Liverpool John Moores are 4:25. Then a couple of 4:27s courtesy of King's College London and Bournemouth. And Bradford came in with a 4:29. Now lane 1, St Andrews on this near side. Great start to leg 2. King's College London, they're going to lead into the second half of leg 2. Just 1:03 ahead of St Andrews, 3.28 ahead of Bradford, Bournemouth 4.25. But after the last heat, you can't write anything off whatsoever. And a couple of messages on the live stream chat. Come on Dylan, come on Sam, come on Bournemouth, and come on Liverpool John Moores. Bournemouth and Liverpool John Moores side by side in this heat, but neither leading at the moment because it is King's College London turn things around again. St Andrews now with a minor catch to make, and they've in fact made it in the first 25 metres of this third leg. It's absolutely incredible what can happen over the course of one leg in this pool when it's a medley team relay. And St Andrews again with the advantage now with them. So King's College London 2.8 down, Bradford, who the early leaders, 5.5 down. Then come Bournemouth and Brunel. So St Andrews have taken advantage into the final leg in lane 6. Bradford flying through now. It's going to be incredibly tight. Breathing to his left, he can see St Andrews in lane 1. They'll enter the water first. And now Bradford on the chase here in heat number 2. King's College London 6.3. Brunel 8 seconds down now. Bradford, are they chipping away? Or is it too little too late? So Bradford do turn first for home, 3.49, and it's 2.26 behind for Bradford. And then it's tight again this time between King's College London and Brunel, both 8 and 9 seconds. But have St Andrews done enough to close this one out? Bradford doing everything they can in lane 6, but it's going to be too little too late. It will be a win in 1 for St Andrews. The time is going to be just outside 4:20. 4:20.39 to be exact. Valiant effort in lane 6 from Bradford, 4:25. Finally coming in just shy of 5 seconds back. Brunel, wonderful race again. King's College London leaders at one point as well, 4:32. And then come in Bournemouth. But St Andrews, a well calculated win in heat number 2. And then just one heat to go before we have a break ahead of our session final, or session 4, beginning at 6 p.m. So here is coming up in a second, heat number 3, lane 2, Queen's Mary Uni of London, just finishing things out, as will Aberystwyth. So great team performances, one heat to come. And the swimmers will just clear the pool. In heat 3, you're going to see Coventry, Hertfordshire, Exeter, University West of England, Hull, London, Anglia Ruskin, Durham, Royal Holloway and Bristol. Again, if you are just joining us, this is the final heat because we saw heats 4, 5 and 6 earlier in the session. So this is the third and final heat. Check the BUCS website, all information on there, start times, live results, all the information you could ever wish for. And again, here we go, final heat of the session. Coventry, Hertfordshire, Exeter, West of England, Hull, London, Anglia Ruskin, Durham, Royal Holloway and Bristol. So pretty neck and neck through leg one. Anglia Ruskin, University West of England, 0.9 separating them. West of England behind. However, I think at the next timing board, that will have been overturned. Closest behind them, lanes 7 and 8. That's Durham and Royal Holloway. So West of England do turn first. Anglia Ruskin 0.86 behind. Coventry 5.27, Durham 5, Exeter 6.8. And that very small lead of less than a second just being maintained by West of England into the final 10 metres of leg 2. And the butterfly is where you often see the biggest change in the positionings. Now, even if you're 5 or 6 seconds behind at the minute, you can easily find yourselves back up near the top at the end of this third leg. And Anglia Ruskin, as you can see, straight away entered this leg with almost a second's deficit. They're already 10 metres further down the pool. Absolutely incredible first 50 from Anglia Ruskin. And West of England now in a little bit of trouble for second as well, because in lane number 8, Royal Holloway charging through. West of England 8 seconds behind now, Holloway 9 seconds. And West of England could find themselves outside the top 4 at the end of this leg. Anglia Ruskin, an absolutely incredible 100 metres than the man on the third leg. On the far side, lanes 7, 8 and 9, Durham, Royal Holloway and Bristol all involved. On the near side, lanes 1 and 2, Hertfordshire and Exeter, neck and neck in fact with Durham and Royal Holloway. Anglia Ruskin do dive in first, but watch the times come in now in a flutter. Durham, Hertfordshire, Exeter, Royal Holloway all within a second of each other, but still 7 seconds behind Anglia Ruskin. The change that can be made on that butterfly leg is absolutely incredible. And into the final 50, Anglia Ruskin now. You'd say that was fairly comfortable. And look at this down in lanes number 1 and 2, Hertfordshire and Exeter. Haven't said their names too many times, but they're going to do everything they can. There's about 7 metres to chip away at with only 25 to go. It's going to be a very tall order, and it is not going to happen because Anglia Ruskin, courtesy of an incredible third leg on the butterfly, will come in to take the win in heat number 3. Great fight on in lanes number 1 and 2, Hertfordshire and Exeter for second place in this heat. It does go to Exeter just by 1/10 of a second. 4th to Bristol on the far side, Durham, Royal Holloway, Coventry. Look at that, West of England leading comfortably at the halfway stage. Well, they had a second advantage at the halfway stage. They come in 8th position in the end. And that's probably the biggest turnaround we've seen of all the medley heats. Really incredible stuff. We'll wait for lane 4, Hull, to come in and join us to finish not only the heat, not only the event, but finish the session. And then we're going to go to a break, and we're going to be back live online around about 5:50. The finals will start at 6, and again, we have around a dozen races to come for you. They are all finals, so please join us from 5:50 onwards. The action starts at 6. We're coming to you live from Ponds Forge here in Sheffield. The BUCS 2019 Long Course Championships. Go and have a break. We'll see you back shortly. And in fact, I hope you haven't left us, because we do in fact have a swim off coming now. This is for the men's 50 metre freestyle, heat number 14 this is to get into the final. And Neil Wiley of Manchester Met in 4 against Eddie Watson of Robert Gordon in 5. So they had matching times in the original heats, and they lie 10th and 11th respectively at the minute, so I'll swim off to see who gets into that final later on this evening. It's neck and neck again. Surely it can't be a tie again. It does look like Neil Wiley's just going to take it in the last couple of metres, and he does indeed. Still only split by 400ths of a second, and there's an ooh in the arena here. So Neil Wiley will make it into the final of the men's 50 metre freestyle, just pipping Eddie Watson. They couldn't be separated in the original heats. They're separated by 400ths here in the swim off. And now again, go and have a break. We'll see you at 5:50. The action starts at 6.